Shenan, CTV is maturing. It's becoming a big part of the media mix for many of the brands here at the A&A. How is CTV being used, and how does it fit into your overall media mix at GM?
It's part of our total media mix. It's part of our total video media mix. So we have to understand where consumers are spending their time. We also have to understand what the value is in those moments. So when we talk about connected televisions and the fact that these consumers are watching in different apps, we want to understand where they're spending the majority of their time and also the places where we can be the most resonant with them. The beauty of CTV is it often allows us to actually pick across the different, not just platforms, but also across the different programming. It allows us to be more targeted with our audiences and understand the exact frequency that we're getting within the platform, of course, but also make sure that we're in a place that's resonant. That resonance also allows us to change the creative to be most relevant to the consumer at that time as well.
So how do you measure performance in CTV versus more traditional television, and what are the opportunities there?
The opportunities is I'm buying it on an impression basis, not necessarily on a total GRP basis, so that I better understand the number of impressions that I'm serving to a consumer, and I better understand the audience that's actually viewing my ads, and I can target the audiences that I specifically want to send there. So if I'm looking for somebody who I would call a, let's say, lifestyle trucker, you and I were talking earlier today about GMC trucks, and the Sierra is an incredible vehicle, right? If I know somebody wants a rugged styling with the latest technology package and they want to be able to use their truck to tow things, but it's not about a work truck, it's about a luxury truck that they're using to drive their everyday fun vehicles, whether it's a snowmobile or a jet ski, I know that's the audience that I want to reach. I can seed that audience into the CTV platforms and ultimately create the right audience to message connection.
Shenan, we've been talking about interactive formats for a number of years. You're starting to use them. What's the opportunity and what's the form factor that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I can't promise you the form factor that makes sense because I haven't seen them all yet, but I love that they're coming to market for us, and I love the opportunity for the consumer to be able to make that instant connection with the ad and bring it into a three-dimensional space for them. So they move from having the ad on their big screen. My husband did it the other day. It amazed me. We were sitting there watching a piece of programming. One of our ads came up and a QR code popped up at the bottom. Another one of our ads popped up later, and there was the opportunity to just hit the OK button and have something sent to his phone because the system understood who he was and what device he was carrying and that he was logged in. That connectivity, to be able to connect people directly into our site, means that we have better opportunity to understand what of the actions and advertising that we're doing is ultimately driving to the sale.
And what about optimizing CTV investment or optimizing the value of it? What issues do you need to deal with, like fragmentation, measurement standards? Are there issues that are in the way yet still?
I think there's always going to be some issues in the way. We need standardization in how everyone is measuring. We need common languages in how we pay for the different metrics, so everybody's charging a little bit differently. We also need the same level of fraud protection and viewability protection that we've had. CTV has had a challenge in the early days, and I think we're getting better if we're using the right tools, but it had a challenge in the early days of the screen got turned off, but the box didn't, right? And so the box continued to play advertising in the background. I don't want to pay for advertising that doesn't have the opportunity to be seen, and I know the CTV providers don't want us to pay for advertising that doesn't have the ability to be seen. So being able to connect the technology and ensure that the ads that we're running are actually viewable by a consumer and then ideally actually viewed by a consumer is the direction that we need to go in.
And finally, here at Beat, we're covering a lot of the future of technology and how it affects media. I'm interested to know, from your perspective, what's exciting, what's interesting, what do you want to see more innovation around?
In technology as a whole?
As it relates to ad tech, as it relates to the work that we do. Is it AI? Is it clean rooms? Data management? I
think, okay, so the future of the technology and the media tech stack is super exciting right now, and I know everybody's talking about AI, but let me tell you where I think AI is going to be really interesting. Yes, it'll be interesting in measurement, it'll be interesting in all of the places that you would traditionally want to use it. I think agent AIs that are going to sit over multiple data sets on our behalf to be able to query multiple things and make decisions will be really interesting. It will ultimately be how we train them, right? There's going to be this need to make sure that the data sets that they're using and the information that they're given and the decisions that they try to make are clean and clear and actually proper. The risk will be that if we turn an AI loose on a bunch of different data sets and it tries to make an optimization or suggest an optimization, I would never let it actually make an optimization on our behalf, not yet, but at least suggest an optimization, that the information that it's making that optimization based on is based on reality of what we're capable of doing. So I think there's a lot of training and a lot of opportunity there, and I think it's going to speed up the ability to be able to optimize our media and create better consumer experiences with advertising.